So, okay, I get that a lot of people really like Vaush, and I saw a lot of the Vaush Tim Pool debate. I tuned in with like half of America
Oh
apparently.
yeah, let's debate Vosh, my favorite.
Yeah, so like that was really good. I think Vaush did really well, all things considered, even though he stumbled a few times, but or didn't like go for the kill the way some people might have expected. But one thing that I've noticed that was different about Vaj when going on Tim Pool than how he behaves normally is that when he went onto Tim Pool's program, he was kind of like doing the ASMR thing. He was much sort of quieter and talking in a more soothing tone and just really kind of laying out certain facts and talking about things in a very matter of factly, rational, calm, quiet, soothing, almost like an ad for a coffee commercial kind of way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's good, but when you look at like what he's done on his actual channel and when he debates a lot of people, he also tends to debate like smaller conservatives, like or like borderline fascists and caps and whatever else. But they don't really know how to fully articulate their arguments, and he does the Ben Shapiro thing of like talking over them and splitting them apart into different sort of things. Like, wait, no, you can't justify that because of this. And so a part of me is like, okay, this is good in the sense of this is getting a lot of people to pay attention to leftist ideas,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's using the right tactics, which I kind of hate. But at the same time, if it gets results, well,
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a lot of rhetoric and being able to control your language in a very convincing manner. And he says that a lot. Like, most of what he does is sounding correct. He's not always knowledgeable about topics. In fact, when Vosh talks about policy, he doesn't, like, I think I could teach him some things about policy, like healthcare. A stream 2 months ago, he didn't understand that Medicare for all was universal healthcare and that Medicare for all and universal healthcare was single payer healthcare. He didn't understand those things. And when it comes to like arguing for worker co-ops, he does all right. But it's hard with that topic because there's not much available data on it, other than like certain case studies, which isn't the same as like a wide economic approach throughout an entire nation. But I agree with you. The Tim Pool thing, he did do more of a ASMR thing. He wasn't combative at all. He was trying to more, like I was saying before, lay the seeds with his audience, gain goodwill with Tim
yeah,
Pool to use his platform, which I think is very smart. But there were
yeah,
some moments that I feel like he gave too much. Like when Tim Pool said affirmative action is a disgusting liberal ploy or something, Vosh just said, yeah, it is. He didn't give enough pushback to that point. Like, okay, this is a bad way to do it, but this is what they're trying to fix. I feel like he let Tim Pool get a lot of ground on him for those specific topics. But overall, I think he brought it around really nicely at the end. He was using the Socratic method more than I don't know what the other method would be of being what is it called the is it like the douchebag left? I don't know what it's called. What is it
I
called?
don't know.
It's like
I
a
don't
a-hole
remember.
left online or something like that. But yeah, he was using the Socratic method more. I think overall it was a very good showing in the end. You know, flying across the country, going in Tim Pool's home court. His hair was all messed up. I mean, good for him on even
And
doing
like
it.
with other people, right? Like it's literally Vosh walking into the lion's den with two and a half lions. He's got Tim Pool and like Weed Lord or Moon Lord or whoever the fuck the like ginger guy is, and then the woman on screen is like, interesting, interesting. Um,
Yeah, that is
but
hard.
like as
Multiple people.
as Reveille said, yeah, like Bosch said beforehand that he wasn't going there to convert Tim or to like quote unquote win a debate. He was going there to try and like save some of his audience and point out like, yo, hold the fuck up for a second. Um, and with that in mind, I kind of want to bring this back to something we talked about earlier about like election eve, official predictions, disaster scenarios. Is how and I don't have enough historical context for this, which all of a sudden is really bothering me. But it raises the question of so how do we reincorporate these people into society, or is that even possible? These people who are saying Biden's the devil, AOC is a communist, and we gotta like kill Democrats and get Trump in the White House in order to really save America. And if you don't support this, you aren't really American. Like, how do you decondition someone who's at the point where they're ready to like literally shoot and kill you for not being one of them?
Well,
Like, how do we, well, not we, but how do you guys kind of deal with that?
some people would say, um, suppress the voices. We don't want their ideas to get out at all. So others would say we want them to speak up so we can defeat their voices. Like you probably heard these arguments before. Defeat their voices on the public stage. I don't think there's any converting these people. I think there is trying to structure our government and engage in the political process in a way that removes power from them. You know what I mean? Like, don't give them power in our system. If they are using the Republican Party as their vehicle for change, don't let the Republican Party gain more power, and don't let Republicans win, who are going to do their bidding. Don't let the Mike Pences of the world win. Even if you have to vote for a Pete Buttigieg or a Mike Bloomberg to get out someone like Mike Pence, do it. Like, fight for that person, because we need to defeat the evil, and then we can focus on defeating the lesser evil. And I think that's one of the issues that we have in politics in general. Like, we're too focused on like big elections. We need to be focused on like cutting down their power at every turn. I don't think these people are going to
Why do
leave.
you think I'm an anarcho-syndicalist? I'm like, look, this all starts with literal democracy in the workplace. Like, why does democracy have to be limited to elections? Why can't we have democracy in schools, school trustees? Like, we go and like elect our school trustees. Can we not then participate equally in the democratic process for how they participate with schools and school funding? Shouldn't our workplaces be democratic? Are we not democratic with our friends and deciding, oh, yes, I know some people have some allergies here, so what's a good place that we all want to go to that everyone's cool with? Are we feeling more like pizza or like wings? What do we want, team? We're discussing it,
Mm, yeah.
but pizza and wings. Let's do both. Like, democracy is something that should not just be every 4 years. It should be something that you live and breathe in your
Yeah.
daily life
That's my
and in
problem
your
with
workplace.
that's my problem with Ice Cube. Are you familiar with Ice Cube and him coming out and saying all this woke stuff about the Democratic Party? I love it. Be anti-establishment, but don't wake up the week before every election and decide to come out and do your little spiel. Take a break from making cop movies with Kevin Hart to actually do some shit activist-wise. Like, don't come out every, like, oh my god, guys, I just realized. Like, he posted a tweet like, I just realized both parties are owned by the elites. I'm like, oh my god, dude, where have you been? You are in Hollywood. You came from the bottom. We know your
Yeah,
history.
like,
Why aren't you fighting
dude,
for
you
these populist
literally
movements?
wrote songs
Why aren't you
about
fighting with
this.
the streets right now? Why are you living this Hollywood life? Like, don't just wake up before, the big general election comes. Like, activism is a constant thing. Like, Chomsky was trying to say too, like Brianna Joy Gray on the Bad Faith podcast. Voting is literally just 5% of it. Like, we're going to go vote, we're going to get that ballot casted, and we're going to make sure that this structure, this environment that we could grow in, stays. So we could still grow. We don't want the environment to fall apart, because if this environment falls apart, we're not going to grow at all. Our activism's not going to take place in a very far right, anti-democratic setting. So it's like, it is a constant fight, and that's why these celebrities are like, oh my god, every 4 years they're like, okay, guys, get out to vote. Like, all of them do it. Like, all of them. I could talk about like
Yeah.
Eminem, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift. All these people do it. I mean, some of them are
Oh,
more activist, like, I mean, off in the off season, and great for them, and great
Mark
on them.
Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo is a true one. Mark Ruffalo has like constantly gone off on Twitter on like politicians, business leaders. He, spreads progressive stuff. Sure, for some he's not perfect, but honestly, like that to me, he's a true one. He is on 24/7. So for him, I definitely appreciate that. There need to be more celebrities like him. And you briefly touched on something that I kind of want to put a bit more emphasis on, of these celebrities and this kind of fake wokeness of every 4 years. And it's the same with a lot of like mainstream liberals, whether they're big L or small L, where, and I've seen them at like in the backgrounds of some protest pictures that have emerged and been put in international news. And you see them and it says, I should be at brunch right now. And it's kind of like, you know, we should maybe have like other things than just you worrying about brunch, and it should be like an
Yeah,
important
I
thing
get what
that's
you're
not
saying.
just like something that you just do every so often and it's, oh well, yeah, I did my part, now we can go have brunch with the girls. Like, instead, I don't know, actually be an activist for your community,
Well,
maybe.
I see two types of people doing this. So people only care about politics, I think, if it directly affects them in some way. So like if you make $150,000 a year and you're chilling in a suburb somewhere, you're not going to get involved in politics unless if you're really, unless if you are emotionally connected to the plight of people who are, struggling in our country, marginalized groups. If you went to college, maybe you got a background in that, then you'll support those groups and support candidates who have more empathy. If you don't care about that, then you're going to vote for candidates who will give you lower taxes. So the two ideologies I see, or the two like approaches, is either what you just said, like, oh, I want to go to brunch. Trump is so annoying. I'm sick of hearing about it. I don't want to worry about it anymore. And then there's people that I see more on the conservative side who think it's all a game. Like, haha, my side won. Trump's going to win again, liberals. And I'm like, both of you, like, this actually matters for people. This isn't a game. You guys are lucky that politics, or you're lucky you're in a position that politics doesn't directly affect your life. Like, use your position of privilege
Thank
to
you.
actually create positive change. And once all this stuff, like, if you keep on disregarding the issues in society, if you keep disregarding poverty, you keep on disregarding the war on drugs, you keep on disregarding all this stuff, income inequality, all this stuff. If you keep on not paying attention to it, soon it's going to bubble up and come in your face. Soon it's going to get out to the suburbs. Soon these issues are going to be systemically spread by nature to you. If you do, it's like that one meme. It's not the same thing, but like if they, oh, what's that one line? Do you know the band? Not the band, but the group Run the Jewels with Killer Mike.
Yeah,
The one line,
yeah.
there's a great song. It's called "Walking in the Snow." That's probably my favorite song from them. It's from their latest
I don't think
album.
I've heard that one.
I recommend that
I'll
one.
have to look it
Like
up.
Killer Mike ends the one verse with never forget in the story of Jesus, the hero was killed by the state. Like that was such a hard line to end that with. But LP in that song says it's like the cage is never built for just one group. Once the cage is done with them, they'll come for you or whatever. It's kind of like that. Like if you don't fix these societal problems, eventually they're gonna grow too big for you to ignore. Essentially.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've already seen that with these so-called remorseful Trump voters, where initially they voted for Trump, and then at some point in the last 4 years, for some it happened in the first year, for some it happened in the second, third, or now the fourth year, there was something that disillusioned them, or something, some law that was passed that then began to affect them personally. And it really just confirms something which I'm increasingly finding. And again, it's just anecdotal because it's just from what I'm seeing and hearing. But it really feels like for a lot of conservatives, nothing is a problem until it affects them or someone they know personally. It's not a systemic issue, it's a personal responsibility issue until it comes for them. And then they realize, wait, no shit, it is a systemic problem.
Yeah.
Or like it's just something that I've seen,
Or
and I
like, oh,
will
I don't like
happily
this.
admit that it is anecdotal, but it's also really annoying. Of like, so it took you suffering personally, or someone you know suffering personally, to realize and wake up to what numerous other people had been trying to tell you for all this time. It's annoying, but at the same time, I don't hate it because, hey, at least they finally woke the fuck up, like.
Yeah, it's finally getting a perspective of a like a struggling person like COVID. If you hear about COVID, you think it's fake, but then the next week your grandma gets it and she dies in the nursing home and you couldn't see her. Maybe you might take COVID a little bit more serious. I mean, you might not have cared about the 200 to 20,000 people that died,
I've
because
seen bad stories
you
about
love your
that.
yeah, my there's a nursing home near me and I think there were 180 people in it. They all got infected and like 70 died. Like, oh, where's that
Oh,
99.9% survival rate now? I don't know.
no, but like I'm talking about some of the people that I've seen where they're saying COVID is a hoax, and then they're shown like stats of people who died, or even someone in their family died, and then they'll use this warped ass logic and say, "Well, no, they didn't die from COVID. It was pneumonia." I'm like, "Yeah, brought on by fucking COVID," but like they'll just still defend it like, "Oh no, it wasn't actually COVID. It was." something else. And it's like, yeah, hi, question, what caused the something else?
Yeah,
So
it's that
yeah,
never-ending
it's
justification.
depressing.
It's that never like right now,
It's the desire to win.
like 45% of the country is okay with Trump literally saying no one's dying from COVID, as 1,000 people are dying a day from COVID. But if Hillary Clinton, if there were documents came out that Hillary Clinton messed up on the job and a person got hit by a bomb or something as a result of her, and this one person died from another, which is still terrible, obviously. But this would be the biggest story, like Benghazi. They had like multiple 25-hour hearings, or I don't know how many hours, but
Mm.
they didn't get hurt on anything. And this was the huge
That was a
issue. This is
big
still a big issue
non-issue.
that they complained about. And now COVID is ripping through the entire country. I mean, they always use the argument we're testing more so we have more cases, but that doesn't make any sense when it comes to how many people are dying. And people in general, just even people who care about it, seem to be so disconnected from it, and it's hard. If something goes big boom, then people are gonna naturally gravitate towards that more. If it's a silent killer, then it's not a good media story. It's like we're dogs chasing a shiny object or like a ball that's like whistling through the wind.
Also, on the notion of Benghazi, something that just went right under the rug, and that's why I was doing the clickety clackety typing because I had to double check the name. Um, Trump has already had what should have been his Benghazi, which was the Tongo Tongo ambush. A lot of Americans don't seem to realize this, but the American war on terror has actually shifted largely from the Middle East, where it's been wrapping up for a while, to West and Central Africa in the transition zone, where you have like a lot of places that are predominantly Muslim or they have a Muslim minority. This is why America, France, and even Canada are currently deployed in places like Mauritania, um, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad. And the Tongo Tongo ambush was in the American sorry, in the African country of Niger, and it occurred on the 4th of October 2017. And members of the Islamic State attacked Nigerian and American soldiers outside this village of Tongo Tongo while they were on patrol. And the way the ambush was allowed to work was because, like, Trump and the State Department and everyone else there had so bungled like basic intelligence and were not taking warnings or threats seriously that it allowed for, I think it was 4 American soldiers to be ambushed and killed. And it was just a non-story, no congressional hearings, nothing like that. And yet that is definitely on Trump and his government not doing due diligence to protect American soldier lives. But nope, he's our president, so we're not going to do that. But if a Democrat did that, oh, you can bet we'd say that it was heinous and terrible. And how could you do that to our brave troops? Republican does it, and American soldiers wind up dead. It's like, oh, hey, look at that. Trump said something in a tweet. That's basically what it is.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping more people realize like that. Like, I'm really glad you brought up Benghazi because it's kind of, and again, I kind of hate whataboutism, but hey, if you're going to go after Hillary Clinton for Benghazi, then you should also go after Trump for Tongo Tongo.